We start, though, with breaking news at the Supreme Court. It just handed President Trump another win, allowing his administration to fire hundreds of probationary federal workers. I want to get straight to Paula Reed, who was looking through the decision. Paula, what did they say?
So, Dana, this is a significant win for the administration. The fourth one they have notched from the Supreme Court in just the past few days. Here, this decision is focused on thousands of fired probationary federal workers. Now, this decision will allow the government to keep those individuals off the payroll while the larger questions about these firings are litigated. Now, this was decided not on a constitutional issue or really on the merits. It was decided on something called standing, which is whether the individuals who brought this lawsuit had the right to do so. And here the court says that the 9 nonprofit organizations did not have standing in this case. So again, this is sort of a technical win, but it is still a win for the administration, though it's unclear how this will apply to all fired probationary workers, because a separate judge in Maryland earlier this month ordered a pause and a reinstatement of some employees that are not covered by this case. But I do want to say, Dana, the Justice Department, the Trump administration, they've been waiting for a while for good news from the courts after a string of losses, and they have been getting a lot of good news from the High Court over the past few days.
Want to really see something that said, take a look at what happened.
Hey. Why this beat so crazy?
We will make America proud again. And you try to. We will make America wealthy again. And yes, together, we will make America great again.
It's been win after win. It's been win after win. Whoa! Oh, man. What's going on, family? Breaking news, massive news, major updates, bombshells. It's happening. CNN forced to admit that we are kicking ass. That he is doing exactly what he campaigned on. That his approval rating is skyrocketing. That things are skyrocketing. Yeah. Let's do it, fake news. But I hope everybody is blessed, well, healthy, and that nothing but the best is going on in all you beautiful people's life. We got some big things to get into, man, all day today. Make sure that you join the family if you are new here. Hit that subscribe button, hit that like button for you, boy. We rocking and rolling, man. Oh, exactly what he, hey, love or hate the man. Doing exactly what he campaigned on, man. And we send our prayers for the Trump administration. Prayers for Trump, man. You know, and turn this big ship around. America first. We are rooting for America. I am rooting for we the people. We're rooting to get to exile to mark this corrupt scam, man. And it takes somebody to stand up and put their foot down, man. But we know what comes with this, and we know what comes with this kind of leadership. So we send our prayers to Trump and the Trump administration, man. And this is why they don't want him here. They do not want this man here, man. Yes, indeed. More big wins from the Supreme Court. It's happening, you guys. It is happening. Let's go and jump in. CNN is forced to admit it. Live on air. Come on, CNN. Let's do it.
I think there was this concern among some folks that Donald Trump would come in for a second term and kind of be a lame duck. He ain't no lame duck.
He ain't no lame duck.
He's a soaring eagle. What am I talking about here?
He's a soaring eagle. He ain't no lame duck. Yay!
Talk about Trump executive orders in 2025. He's already signed 111 so far. That is the most at this point in a presidency in at least 100 years. In fact, it's the most in any single year, and we're only in April, since Harry S. Truman in the early 1950s. The bottom line is whether you like Trump or you don't like him, you can't say that he's come in and not try to deliver on what he at least believes was his promises on the campaign trail.
On the campaign trail.
So in historic fashion.
How are people reacting to and feel about Trump's approach?
Yeah, okay. So Trump's approach here, what are we talking about? Trump's approach to presidential power. I think the American people recognize what he's doing here is completely different. We're talking, get this, 86% of the American public believes that Trump's approach to presidential power is completely different from past presidents compared to only 14% who believe it is in line with precedent. And we're talking about at least 79% of Democrats, independents, and Republicans. So again, you can agree or you can disagree with Donald Trump, but what you can't disagree with is that he's doing things very differently. I have used the Frank Sinatra quote before. He is doing it, quote unquote, my way, and that is what Donald Trump has done throughout both of his presidential terms, and he's certainly doing that, Kate Baldwin, in term number 2.
So completely differently, clearly they agree, but take it a step further? Do the people think he's taken too much power?
Yeah, this I think is the real question, right? You can believe that he's doing stuff completely differently, but do you think that he has a little too much power or not? And this is interesting. So Trump's presidential power is too much, the right amount, too little. Well, 47% say too much, but then you get 36% who say the right amount. Then you get 17% who say too little. So you're essentially dealing with a majority of the American public, 53%, who do not say that Trump has too much power. They either says he has too little power or the right amount of power. So the idea, that argument that Donald Trump is, quote unquote, a king, that I don't think holds with the American people. It does hold maybe with 47%, but with the majority of folks, they believe Donald Trump's doing something completely differently, and they don't believe he has too much power, and the executive orders he signed certainly suggest he's no lame duck. He is, as I said at the beginning, a soaring eagle.
Thank you, CNN. We appreciate you. We appreciate your fake news. We appreciate you. And all these polls, and then, half of the time they don't even be correct or accurate, but hey, we'll take it, CNN. We'll take it. Fake news, we'll take it. Yes, indeed. Look at all, man. Put your hands behind your back. Look at it. Look at it. So beautiful. Look at it. Oh, man. This is so beautiful. Oh, man. Walking them out. Oh, they got the... Oh, man. This is so beautiful, man. Yeah. Yeah, buddy. Put the judge on the plane. Put the judge. Hands behind his back. Let's do it. Let's do it, family. Oh, man. We got this in China. China! Pull that bet out. Pull that bet out. China! We not effing around, China.
You said the president was asked and answered this yesterday. He said he's not considering an extension or a delay. I spoke to him before this briefing. That was not his mindset. He expects that these tariffs are going to go into effect. And you said something very important, Elena, in your question. You said the president has captivated the attention of the world. Absolutely he has. And it's about time we have a president in the Oval Office who is putting the world on notice and is putting the American people first. And again, is using the leverage of the United States to negotiate good trade deals.
That's right. We're gonna get it. You get what Daddy used to say. If you get on that horse, son, you about to ride that horse. And we ride that horse. Shout out to my boy Kingdom, man. We rocking and rolling, man. Shout out to my brother, man. Let me go leave a little love on his post and repost it, man. I'm gonna watch it after we finish this video. I'm gonna go and watch that bad boy. Shout out to my boy Kingdom, man. Yeah, buddy. We just keep winning, family. Where's that other video I want to show? We got full updates, man.
China responds to Trump's tariff threat with their own. President Trump picks up another win from the Supreme Court this morning, and DHS drops a bombshell announcement on 900,000 migrants.
Breaking news at the Supreme Court. It just handed President Trump another win, allowing his administration to fire hundreds of probationary federal workers. I want to get straight to Paula Reed, who was looking through the decision.
We showed this clip in the intro. We showed this clip because this was like the huge point of the video. It's just been wins, man. Supreme Court.
Paula, what did they say?
So, Dana, this is a significant win for the administration.
Yeah, so this is becoming what we've always known is most of these cases that reached the Supreme Court, they will rule in favor of President Trump because he's following the Constitution. I mean, you're probably going to have some rulings that are 5-4, or maybe 6-3, but overall, it's not the constitutional crisis the Democrats want the American people to believe, okay? And so this is a huge loss, once again, 2 days in a row for Democrats. Now, this next announcement is even more demoralizing for Democrats. Watch this.
This morning, the Department of Homeland Security announced it is revoking the legal status of potentially hundreds of thousands of migrants who entered the country during the Biden administration using the CBP One app. DHS is ordering those with revoked status to voluntarily
we got a bombshell video coming out after this of what Doge just discovered. It is massive, you guys. You do not want to miss our next video. Oh boy.
Deport and leave the country immediately.
Anna, we're talking about upwards of 900,000 people who are allowed to come into the U.S. using this app. You'll remember this was an application created during the Biden administration. It had a ton of glitches and technical issues at first, but it did actually help bring down the number of people crossing the border illegally by the end of the administration. But now Secretary Noem says it's no more. She is revoking the status of these up to 900,000 individuals, saying in part, quote, formal termination notices have been issued and affected aliens are urged to voluntarily self-deport using the CBP Home app. Those who refuse will be found, removed, and permanently barred from re-entry. As it relates to due process, they certainly should have due process. Whether or not the Trump administration gives that to them is up to them.
Well, according to the SCOTUS ruling, they will get due process. I think that has become abundantly clear. That's number one. Number two, they're going to leave this country one way or another. I mean, you think about all the tools that the Trump administration is deploying here, it's only a matter of time. And so Democrats can continue to spin their wheels and fight this all the way. But what they're really doing is wasting their time, in my opinion. All right, so let's go to our next story. And that is Democrats continuing to accept their loss in regards to the Supreme Court ruling in favor of President Trump at his use of the Alien Enemies Act. Clearly, the left believes due process is necessary, and the Trump administration just wants to get people out of this country. Now, here is the Attorney General this morning and what she had to say about it.
This is a landmark victory for the rule of law. And this is what we've been arguing on behalf of President Trump from day one. These are enemies of our state, of our country, and they should be deported. And what the judge ruled was going forward, from this day forward, all those planes that are gone are there. Those people are staying. So there are a lot of reasons why Americans are safer. From this point forward, the hearing will be held, it's a habeas hearing, in the court of confinement, which means in Texas. Yeah. So it will be a much faster hearing. They can't do class actions. It will be a much smoother, simpler hearing, and these people will be deported. Americans are safer, and domestic terrorists, foreign terrorists, you better look out because we're coming after you. I'd start self-deporting if I were you.
All right. So according to the Attorney General and SCOTUS for that matter, both sides has received the utmost clarity here, right? Democrats were crying about due process left and right. Now they're going to get it, okay? Because a hearing will take place every time they move to deport these individuals out of our country. And at the same time, President Trump and the administration can continue to use the Alien Enemies Act. Now, for some reason, I guess people on CNN are confused about that. And of course, Scott Jennings.
They're always confused. They are always confused. I don't know why they ought to shut CNN down. MSNBC, ABC, the Meet the Press on NBC, I'm sick of the alphabetical order. All these NBCs, ABCs, CBSs, shut them all down. You know, CBS, election, all of them, election interference, lying, re-editing stuff and throwing stuff in. Yeah. Defamation. Fear-mongering, propaganda, lies, can't tell the truth. And you wonder why your ratings are where they're at, because you can't tell the truth. And them conservatives are keeping them shows, keeping them these broadcasts alive. Just saying.
Has to set them straight. Take a look.
I mean, look, it sounds to me like they're going to be able to use this law as long as these people get their day in court and the administration shows their cards on why they were picked up and deported prepared for deportation in the first place. So it feels to me like everybody got something, which is that the Trump administration feels like they got some legal vindication on the use of the law. A lot of people were crapping on them over it. And the people who want these immigrants to get some kind of due process are going to get that as well.
But I don't think they even vindicate. I'll let you in, Rachel, but Dante's shaking his head. I'm shaking my head because they did not rule on the use of the law. They just said it at all. Wrong court.
But they're going to keep using it, right?
Until the next challenge.
Right. So like when we wake up in the morning, they're going to keep using it, yes?
No, because now they have due process.
But the administration will continue to use the law as a justification for deporting people, yes?
But nobody goes anywhere, right? Because now the detainees have the option to.
So let me just ask one more time. When we wake up in the morning, they will use the law as
But it won't do
justification.
They're not using the law.
So you can
The
be
law-
cute and say that they can just
turned the
kick
law-
people out of the country, but that's not what the court said. And in fact, the court
Right.
said these
So they're
people
gonna
are
keep using the law.
entitled.
So they're
They're
gonna keep using the
entitled
law.
to their day in court.
Do you need him to
contest
say
it.
no?
I just want to
Because I
know.
think that's what he's
I
saying
just
is
want to
no.
The
know
court hasn't ruled on using
if
the
the
law yet.
administration can use the law tomorrow. The answer is clearly
Well,
yes.
look, they can attempt to use the law, but I think what we can expect is that it'll be challenged.
Okay, so
Yeah.
it's pure stupidity.
Yeah,
I mean,
stupidity.
liberals want to argue the semantics of this ruling, which I think is really a waste of time. The bottom line is what? It's what J.D. Vance here, the vice president, put up on social media. He said the Supreme Court yesterday, really, that's when this post was put up, rejected the idea that far left judges in D.C. can overrule President Trump's immigration enforcement. This is a major loss for the lunatics and a major win for the American people. Onward. That's the bottom line, folks. Now, the Trump administration is not letting up. They're digging deep because now it's being announced this morning that they will enforce a $998 fine per day if illegal immigrants fail to leave this country. This is being reported by Reuters. It also goes on to say that the Trump administration plans to apply the penalties retroactively for up to 5 years, which could result in fines of more than $1 million. Now, this is not the first time that President Trump has enforced this. He did it during Trump 1.0. Now, of course, it won't be a surprise to you. President Biden stopped issuing the fines and rescinded related policies when he took office in 2021. Again, President Trump is doing what he promised he would do, while Democrats are continuing to worry about MS-13 and TDA gang members. Take a look at this clip.
Well, Joe, one of the things that's difficult here is there is an ongoing open question about what happens to those people who are already deported and are now imprisoned in El Salvador, right? So the court is saying sort of on a forward-going basis, you have to provide reasonable notice to people and give them an opportunity to contest their detention and potential deportation in the districts where they are being held. But nobody is squarely confronting here what happens to those 300 people. And there is a big open question in Supreme Court precedent as to whether habeas corpus relief is even available to someone once they are taken out of the country and put in the custody of a foreign nation. So I don't want to sugarcoat this and say all is good because all 9 justices agree process is due. We still have to figure out whether or not there's any remedy for those 300-something people you were just invoking.
Yeah, so I respect the Constitution more than anything, but I find it so hard to believe that on one hand, they need reasonable notice if we're going to get them out of the country.
Yeah.
But where was the reasonable notice when they came into the country?
I'm man.
I mean, what about that? What about the reasonable notice for Lincoln Riley and all the other people who have been negatively impacted by the mass invasion from Joe Biden?
Let's talk
now,
about
I
it.
know that's probably thinking about the past, and there's nothing that we can do about it. But I got to tell you, it's really frustrating to hear that. Now, what's really frustrating is this next story, because the media continues to sympathize with China. And yes, China did respond to President Trump's threat. I don't think you'll be surprised by what they said. Take a look.
Pressure, threats, and blackmail are not the right ways to engage with China. If the U.S. disregards the interests of both countries and the international community, insists on launching a tariff or trade war, China will fight to the end.
China would fight to the end. It's pretty strong language. As far as the possibility of China sitting down with the United States for trade talks right now, China doesn't feel the United States is being genuine to have such a serious conversation.
Now, we're not even going to take that seriously because we know China just described who they really are. Okay. I mean, they've been bullying people left and right. If we give them an inch, they take 10 miles.
10 miles.
They don't respect our intellectual property. They've been cheating the game for quite some time now. Now, J.D. Vance put this up last night, the vice president. He said, it's bizarre to see all the limousine socialists screech desperately for dependence on Chinese supply chains and inflated equities. He follows up by saying, like an actual talking point on the left 2 months ago was Trump's policies exist to enrich Elon Musk. And he's just exposing the hypocrisy that Democrats find themselves in.
Big fat hypocrisy.
First, they said Trump was too weak on China. Now he has too much power when it comes to China. I don't know where they're getting at. They're almost sympathetic towards China, which is why Bill O'Reilly had to say this last night. Take a look.
Let me tell you about China. They are the worst cheaters on the planet. They steal. Every untoward thing that you could do economically, they do. Every year, the United States sends $300 billion more to China than they send to us in trade. 300 billion. Ireland, with a population of 5 million, takes more U.S. goods than China. Ireland. China blocks U.S. goods from coming into their country. So I don't care whether their tariffs 5,000%.
Yeah, no, this seems to be this seems to be about.
And here's the other thing that really stands out that I think is alarming. China obviously produces 53% of the world's ships. Now, if you think about it from a national security standpoint, a military defense standpoint, that's a problem. Why? Well, that means that America could barely meet the demand if we had to go to war to build new ships. That's what it means. We're overly relying on China and other countries to build ships. And that's what I believe President Trump is trying to get to here, is trying to balance this equation out. But I don't believe that's what Democrats want. They don't want to balance this out. Maybe it's for money reasons, for power reasons, or maybe because it's President Trump.
You know, the president's getting a lot of advice from a lot of different people, but what I tend to just listen to the Treasury Secretary, Scott Bessent, who was on television late this afternoon talking about now there's 70 plus countries that are calling up, wanting to discuss how we're going to deal with them in the future. And what I really hope that they wind up doing with those 70 plus countries, and it'll probably be more by tomorrow, is this. Like, listen, you need to understand, we're trying to do something different here. We think we've been taken advantage of, and we're responding to the working class of this country. If you will help us, if you will understand that we can have a fair system here that's fair to the United States, we can align ourselves against the true enemy, which is China. And if you want to get in bed with China and think they're a trustworthy partner, that is a complete, ridiculous, stupid, terrible idea. Stick with us, be fair to us, and stick with us, and we'll align ourselves against China because they cannot be trusted.
It's so simple and so basic, but you'd be surprised at how many people don't see it this way. Yeah. Okay. They don't believe we have a trade problem. They don't believe America is getting hosed. They don't believe what Trump is doing is the right thing. And so, in my opinion, they're just misguided. And I think it's because they have a serious case of Trump derangement syndrome, or they're just used to the old way of doing things, and they're unwilling to face the reality of what's happened to our country, especially middle America. Now, here
70% is Trump derangement syndrome. Yeah. It's a mental illness. It really is. They have Musk derangement syndrome now, too. And Tesla derangement syndrome. It's just bad out here, man. For real. We're living among some just pathetic evil, man. I tell you, people need help, man. People need help.
Here is the Treasury Secretary confirming exactly what Scott Jennings said, which is a lot of negotiations are going down today, and Trump holds all the leverage.
President Trump has maximum negotiating leverage right here, right now. And I think it would be a mistake for anyone to think otherwise. And as I said, many of our trading partners, they have queued up and they have kept their cool. They have not escalated, and they will get priority in the queue. I think it was a big mistake, this Chinese escalation, because they're playing with a pair of twos. Traditionally, if you look at the history of the trade negotiations, we are the deficit country. So what do we lose by the Chinese raising tariffs on us? We export 1/5 to them of what they export to us. So that is a losing hand for them.
Yeah, the only thing that's going to impede the leverage that President Trump has is definitely individuals in Congress, particularly Democrats, and maybe the 4 or 7 GOP representatives that are clearly establishment driven and are not seeing the bigger picture here. And of course, Democrats are now willing to say out loud exactly what they plan to do. Here's an example of that.
Remember, we'll do a little constitutional law. It's Congress that actually has to approve tariffs. Mm-hmm. But we gave this emergency power to Donald Trump. But Congress has the power under just a resolution, simple majority, to say It's not an emergency, fella. And that takes away his power to put all of these tariffs in place. And if a handful of Republicans will join us, we have the power to put a stop to this tariff catastrophe that Donald Trump is putting in place and pulling our economy into a ditch.
Yeah, so Elizabeth Warren believes President Trump has too much power. That they've granted him too much authority. But I think probably one of the better questions at this point in time is, what do the American people believe? Well, let's find out.
You can believe that he's doing stuff completely differently, but do you think that...
That's what we showed. We had to show this at the beginning of the show. We had to, man. You know, we just gonna keep winning, man. We just gonna keep winning, you know. We are just gonna keep winning. This went viral yesterday.
Pro Trump, but don't affect me. They go into effect today. What do you think about the Trump tariffs? Doesn't affect me. Why not? I'm pro Trump, but don't affect me.
Well, what do you think about it? Tell me your opinion on how he's going about it. What do you think?
Dominance, baby. Greatest country in the world.
Dominance, the greatest country in the world. Oh man, family. But we got some more bombshells to get into, some more massive news, especially with Doge, Elon Musk coming up, you guys. You do not want to miss it. But again, prayers for this man. Look at him holding up the Bible, the Holy Bible. Got the Bible. You know what I'm saying? But prayers again, all jokes aside, prayers for this man and his administration. We are rooting for this administration. We're rooting for America, man. America first. Common sense. Common sense. And yes, indeed. I love y'all, and I'll catch y'all in the next one. Peace and love, family.